What really happened to Richard Thomas? Known for his iconic role as John-Boy Walton on the Waltons, Thomas's life has been marked by more than just success. It's been shadowed by a series of accidents that nearly derailed his career. Long before the serious accident he faced last year, Thomas was involved in multiple mishaps that shaped his journey. But perhaps the biggest turning point was his shocking decision to leave the Waltons, a choice that left fans stunned. In this deep dive, we'll explore the unexpected twists and turns in Richard Thomas's life and how he is today. The car accident before the Emmy Awards. Before Richard Thomas' tragic accident on September 17, 2023, Richard faced another life-threatening incident on the night of the Emmy Awards in 1973. While excited about the prospect of winning, the idea of delivering an acceptance speech filled him with anxiety. As he made his way to the ceremony, he realized he hadn't prepared any remarks, which left him feeling unprepared. This moment of panic had real-world consequences. While driving to the event, Thomas was lost in thought about what he might say if he won. In his distracted state, he rear-ended the car in front of him, damaging his own white Volvo station wagon. The crash, while not severe, was enough to require repairs to his car. Later, during his acceptance speech after winning an Emmy, Thomas humorously recounted the incident. He joked about how he had been so preoccupied with the idea of winning and what to say that he ended up wrecking his car. In a brief but witty speech, Thomas confessed, "I had no idea what I would say if I won, so I started thinking about it, and I destroyed my car." His humorous delivery won over the audience, showing not only his acting talent, but his ability to handle the unexpected with grace. Interestingly, Richard Thomas's car troubles stood in stark contrast to the responsible, mature image of John-Boy Walton, the character he portrayed on the Waltons. In real life, Thomas didn't even get his driver's license until his early 20s, and that too only because his role on the show required him to drive. The difference between his personal life and the character of John-Boy showed that while Thomas was highly professional, he still had a humorous side. While working on the Waltons during its 5th season, Thomas faced a more serious challenge. In 1976, he was involved in a near-fatal motorcycle accident while working on the James Dean tribute film, September 30, 1955. The accident left a lasting impact on his life and career. September 30, 1955 was directed by James Bridges and focused on a young man's reaction to the news of James Dean's death. Bridges had initially been hesitant about casting Thomas, having never seen the Waltons. However, that changed as soon as Thomas walked into his office and he was cast for the role. While shooting a scene for the film, disaster struck. Thomas was supposed to rev up a motorcycle in defiance during a parade scene. In a split second, the motorcycle jolted forward unexpectedly, heading straight toward the back of a truck. Quick thinking on Thomas's part saved him from a more serious injury as he managed to jump to safety just in time. Despite avoiding a catastrophe, he wasn't unscathed. Thomas broke his ankle in 2 places, a serious injury that required time to heal and resulted in a year-long delay in the film's production. Despite the severity of his injury, Thomas didn't let it slow him down. At the time of the accident, he was also still filming the Waltons, and rather than take time off to recover fully, he continued to work. In an episode titled The First Edition, John-Boy Walton is seen walking with a cane, which was a clever way for the show to incorporate Thomas's real-life injury into the storyline. His determination to keep working, even through the pain, showcased his dedication to both his craft and his fans. The iconic role of John-Boy Walton and the decision to leave the Waltons. By early 1972, Richard Thomas had firmly established himself as a rising star in the entertainment industry. However, it was his portrayal of John-Boy Walton in the Waltons that truly catapulted him to international fame. The Waltons, based on the life of writer Earl Hamner Jr., became a beloved television series, with Thomas's performance as John-Boy Walton serving as the emotional core of the show. Before the series officially premiered, Thomas had already impressed audiences in The Homecoming, A Christmas Story, a 1971 CBS television movie that served as the precursor to the series. His portrayal in The Homecoming was so compelling that it laid the groundwork for the development of The Waltons, with Thomas continuing in his role as John-Boy in the full series. Over the course of 122 episodes, he became a household name, with his nuanced portrayal of the eldest Walton sibling capturing the hearts of viewers. While The Waltons offered Richard Thomas widespread acclaim and visibility, the role of John-Boy came with its own set of challenges. For 5 seasons, Thomas was the face of the show, embodying the thoughtful and principled young writer navigating life during the Great Depression. However, by the time he was 26, Thomas began to feel the weight of being so closely associated with a single character. Though The Waltons was a success, he recognized that staying in the role for too long could limit his future opportunities as an actor. In interviews, Thomas has candidly reflected on this pivotal point in his career, acknowledging that while he loved the show and its close-knit cast, he felt he had outgrown the character of John-Boy. At 26, Thomas had matured beyond the role of the teenage writer he had portrayed for years. He humorously noted that his perspective on the role might have been different had he been younger. But at the time, he felt a strong need to move on and challenge himself in new ways. In March 1977, after careful consideration, Richard Thomas made the difficult decision to leave the Waltons. His departure was not a sudden choice, but one that he had wrestled with for some time. One of the main reasons he cited for leaving was his concern about being typecast. Despite the allure of continuing in a lead role on a successful television series, Thomas knew that staying on the show could potentially pigeonhole him in similar roles for the rest of his career. He wanted to break free from the image of John-Boy Walton and explore other characters that would allow him to expand his range as an actor. In a conversation with his former co-star Judy Norton, who played Mary Ellen Walton, Thomas shared that leaving the show was not an easy decision. He expressed how difficult it was to walk away from the Walton family, both on-screen and off. The cast had grown incredibly close over the years, and Thomas felt a deep bond with his fellow actors. Nonetheless, he emphasized that leaving was a necessary step for his career. He wanted to avoid being forever associated with John-Boy Walton, fearing that it could hinder his ability to take on more diverse and challenging roles. Life after John-Boy. Richard Thomas's decision to leave the Waltons wasn't purely professional. It also took an emotional toll on him. After filming his final episode as a series regular, Thomas fell seriously ill for several weeks. He has attributed this to the emotional strain of saying goodbye to a show and cast that he deeply cherished. His departure marked the end of an era not only for him, but also for the viewers who had come to love his portrayal of John-Boy. Fans were saddened by his exit, as they had grown attached to Thomas's portrayal of the character over 5 seasons. While Thomas moved on from the series, the Waltons continued without him, with actor Robert Whiteman stepping into the role of John-Boy. However, many viewers felt that Thomas's absence left a noticeable void in the show. Though Whiteman did his best to carry on the character, it was clear that Thomas's version of John-Boy had made a lasting impact. Despite leaving as a series regular, Richard Thomas returned to the Waltons for guest appearances during seasons 6 and 7. These brief returns were significant, as they allowed Thomas to reconnect with his former castmates and fans. More importantly, these appearances gave him the opportunity to clear up any misconceptions about why he had left the show. Thomas was adamant that his decision to leave was not motivated by dissatisfaction with the show or any behind-the-scenes conflicts. Instead, it stemmed from his desire to grow both personally and professionally. He emphasized that leaving the Waltons was a career move, one that allowed him to take on new challenges and avoid being confined to a single role for too long. By returning for these guest appearances, Thomas was able to reassure fans that his departure had been amicable and that his love for the show and its cast had not diminished. Looking back on his decision to leave the Waltons, Richard Thomas has expressed mixed emotions. On the one hand, he remains confident that leaving the show was the right choice for his career. He knew that continuing as John-Boy for too long could potentially trap him in that role, making it difficult to branch out into other acting opportunities. On the other hand, he has openly admitted that the process of leaving was far from easy. In various interviews, Thomas has reflected on the deep connection he felt with his on-screen family. The bond he formed with his fellow cast members was genuine, and saying goodbye to them was one of the hardest parts of his decision. The emotional upheaval of leaving a show he had been a part of for 5 years was palpable, and it took a toll on him, both physically and mentally. Still, Thomas has no regrets about his decision. He recognized that staying on the show could have limited his career in the long run, and he was willing to take the risk of stepping into the unknown in order to grow as an actor. After leaving the Waltons, Richard Thomas made it clear that his acting journey was far from over. The role of John-Boy, which he had portrayed for 5 seasons, was passed on to Robert Whiteman. Thomas and Whiteman had previously worked together on the TV movie No Other Love, which allowed them to develop a positive relationship. Thomas expressed his support for Whiteman's casting, acknowledging his talent and suitability for the role. However, seeing another actor step into the shoes of John-Boy was a strange experience for Thomas. Having been so closely identified with the character, he understood the challenge Whiteman would face in winning over the audience. Thomas empathized with Whiteman's task and recognized the complexities of transitioning a beloved character to a new actor in a long-running series. Early life and background. Richard Thomas, born on June 13, 1951, in Manhattan, New York, was deeply embedded in the world of performing arts from a young age. His parents, Barbara and Richard S. Thomas, were both dancers and founders of the prestigious New York School of Ballet. This creative environment naturally influenced his early upbringing, surrounding him with the arts from the very beginning. His mother, in particular, played a pivotal role in fostering his early love for the stage, while his father's commitment to ballet exposed him to disciplined artistic expression. Richard grew up in a culturally rich and diverse neighborhood, an environment that encouraged creativity and expression. His upbringing in Manhattan, a hub for arts and culture, meant that he had access to the very best in theater, dance, and music. His parents' careers and their connections to the performing arts community exposed him to various forms of creative expression, including stage plays and classical performances. This vibrant setting became the foundation of his early development, helping him cultivate an appreciation for performance and storytelling. By the time he was a young child, Richard had already developed an affinity for storytelling, often performing in front of family and friends. His innate curiosity about the world of acting grew, and with the encouragement of his parents, he began to take it more seriously. Growing up in the heart of New York, Richard had easy access to Broadway and the thriving theater scene, where he frequently watched productions. The experience of attending these live performances left a lasting impression on him, stirring a deeper interest in becoming a part of the world he observed from the audience. Education also played a significant role in shaping Richard's early life. He attended the Allen Stevenson School, a prestigious all-boys institution known for its academic rigor and commitment to fostering well-rounded students. Here, Richard was exposed to a variety of subjects that broadened his intellectual horizons. However, his passion for acting never wavered, even during his academic pursuits. He later attended the McBurney School, another New York City institution that further supported his growth, both academically and artistically. As he grew older, Richard began to explore acting opportunities in local theater productions. His early stage work allowed him to test his talents in a more formal setting, which only fueled his desire to act. Encouraged by his parents, who believed in the value of early exposure to the arts, Richard pursued every opportunity to develop his craft. The academic path at Columbia University. Before Richard Thomas became synonymous with the Waltons, he was a young man with dreams that extended beyond the screen. At the time, his ambitions were rooted in academics. Growing up in a culturally rich and artistic household, education was always highly valued, and Thomas pursued higher learning with zeal. After completing his early schooling at notable New York institutions like the McBurney School, he set his sights on Columbia College, the undergraduate division of Columbia University, one of the most prestigious Ivy League institutions in the United States. When Thomas entered Columbia, he initially chose to major in Chinese. His decision to study Chinese reflected his deep intellectual curiosity and interest in languages and culture. He was drawn to the challenge of mastering one of the world's most complex languages, which speaks to his early drive for academic excellence. Learning Chinese also aligned with Columbia's reputation for global studies and encouraged students to think beyond the borders of their own experiences. However, as time passed, Thomas found that his interests began to shift. Realizing his growing love for literature and storytelling, he made the decision to switch his major to English. This change in focus seemed like a natural progression for someone who had already spent much of his young life surrounded by the arts, especially the world of theater and performance. At Columbia, Thomas was not only engaging with great works of literature, but was also gaining a deeper understanding of narrative structure, themes, and character development, skills that would later prove invaluable in his acting career. During his time at Columbia, Richard Thomas faced a unique challenge, balancing the rigorous demands of his academic coursework with an emerging acting career. Even though he had grown up in an artistic household and had already begun acting in Broadway productions, his formal academic pursuits were important to him. The pressure to maintain both commitments weighed heavily on him, especially as his acting career began to gain traction. The world of academia and acting, though seemingly worlds apart, required similar qualities from Thomas: discipline, focus, and a strong work ethic. Yet the demands of Hollywood soon proved overwhelming. By the time he reached his junior year, he was faced with a tough decision. His acting career was blossoming, with more significant roles coming his way, but staying in school would mean sacrificing those opportunities. Ultimately, the call of Hollywood became too strong to resist. Leaving Columbia was not an easy choice for Thomas, especially given his passion for learning and academic curiosity. However, he knew that fully committing to acting would open doors that might not be available later. In a pivotal moment in his life, he decided to take a leave from Columbia and move to Los Angeles to pursue acting full-time. This decision was the beginning of a transformative chapter in his life, getting into Hollywood. Though his academic journey was cut short, Richard Thomas was no stranger to the world of performing arts. Long before stepping foot on Columbia's campus, Thomas had already built an impressive resume on stage and television. At just 7 years old, he made his Broadway debut in the 1958 production of Sunrise at Campobello, a play about Franklin D. Roosevelt's early struggle with polio. This role marked his first foray into the professional acting world, and his performance caught the eye of producers and critics alike. From there, Thomas's acting career began to blossom. He quickly transitioned from the stage to television, where his talent continued to shine. In 1959, he appeared in the Hallmark Hall of Fame television adaptation of Henrik Ibsen's A Doll's House, working alongside luminaries like Julie Harris and Christopher Plummer. His performance in this prestigious NBC production garnered attention and established him as a young actor with great potential. By the early 1960s, Richard Thomas was appearing regularly on daytime television, making a name for himself in soap operas. He took on roles in popular shows such as The Edge of Night and A Flame in the Wind, gaining valuable experience in front of the camera. From 1966 to 1967, he appeared in the well-known soap As the World Turns, showcasing his versatility as a young actor who could handle both drama and emotional depth. These early roles helped Thomas hone his craft, preparing him for the more significant opportunities that lay ahead. In 1970, Richard Thomas achieved another milestone in his career when he guest starred on Bonanza, one of the most popular television shows of its time. His appearance on this long-running Western further solidified his place in the industry, exposing him to a broader audience and helping him build connections with key industry players. That same year, Thomas made his film debut in Winning, a drama centered around the world of auto racing. Starring opposite Paul Newman, Thomas demonstrated that he could hold his own alongside some of Hollywood's biggest names. His role in Winning opened the door to even more opportunities, including a role in the critically acclaimed film Last Summer, a poignant coming-of-age story that explored the complexities of youth and relationships. Richard Thomas wasn't one to shy away from difficult roles, as demonstrated by his performance in The Todd Killings, a psychological thriller inspired by the real-life crimes of serial killer Charles Schmid. Released in 1971, the film offered a darker, more complex character for Thomas to tackle. Directed by Barry Shear, the film allowed him to stretch beyond the more wholesome roles he had previously played, showing that he could take on diverse and challenging material. Not content with simply playing one type of role, Thomas sought out more varied projects. He starred in Cactus in the Snow, an independent film that solidified his reputation as a versatile actor. In this role, Thomas showcased his ability to navigate different genres, proving that his talents extended far beyond the world of mainstream film and television. Around the same time, The Homecoming, A Christmas Story, a CBS television film, premiered in 1971. Based on the early life of writer Earl Hamner Jr., the story centered on the trials and tribulations of the Walton family during the Great Depression. While it didn't gain widespread recognition immediately, the film was critical in shaping Thomas's future. It wasn't long before this little-known TV film led to the creation of one of the most beloved family dramas in television history. After his departure from the Waltons, Thomas took on a wide variety of roles, proving his versatility as an actor. In 1972, he showcased a much darker side by playing Kenneth Kinsolving, a murderer and rapist, in You'll Like My Mother, starring alongside Patty Duke. This role was a stark contrast to his wholesome image as John-Boy, and highlighted his ability to take on more complex and challenging characters. In the following years, he continued to explore different genres, starring in TV movies like The Red Badge of Courage, 1974, where he portrayed Private Henry Fleming, and All Quiet on the Western Front, 1979, where he took on the role of Paul Baumer. These projects further established his reputation as a talented and versatile actor. In addition to his television work, Thomas appeared in various film projects. One standout role was in the 1980 sci-fi adventure Battle Beyond the Stars, where he played Shad, a young farmer determined to save his planet from invasion. The film allowed Thomas to branch out into the world of science fiction, showcasing his ability to adapt to different genres. He also starred as the title character in Living Proof, the Hank Williams Jr. Story, 1983, where he portrayed the famous country singer, further demonstrating his range as an actor. Throughout his career, Richard Thomas maintained a strong connection to the stage. In 1980, he made a triumphant return to Broadway in Lanford Wilson's 5th of July, earning praise for his performance. His stage career continued to flourish, with notable performances in productions like Citizen Tom Paine, where he portrayed the fiery revolutionary with passion and intensity. His portrayal was lauded for capturing the spirit of Tom Paine, particularly during the bicentennial year of the U.S. Constitution. Thomas's stage career continued through the 1990s and into the 2000s. In 1993, he took on the title role in a Shakespeare theater production of Richard II in Washington, D.C., where he once again demonstrated his talent for complex and dramatic roles. His commitment to the theater was evident as he took on a variety of characters across different genres and time periods. As television continued to evolve, Thomas remained a familiar face on the small screen. In 1995, he starred in Death in Small Doses, directed by Sandra Locke, and appeared in The Christmas Box, a heartwarming holiday movie in which he acted alongside Maureen O'Hara and Annette O'Toole. His ability to bring depth and emotion to his characters was evident in these roles, and he continued to find success in television throughout the 1990s. In the late 1990s, Thomas appeared in several episodes of Touched by an Angel and its spin-off Promised Land, where he portrayed the morally conflicted Joe Green. His performances in these shows demonstrated his ability to portray flawed, complex characters, further expanding his repertoire. Richard Thomas's passion for the stage never waned. In 2001, he performed in the West End production of Yasmina Reza's Art, sharing the stage with Judd Hirsch. His commitment to the theater was evident as he continued to take on challenging roles in notable productions, including his performances in As You Like It in Central Park in 2005 and the Broadway production of Democracy in 2004. These performances kept him connected to his theatrical roots while maintaining his presence on television and film. In recent years, Thomas has continued to balance his work between stage and screen. He appeared in the FX series The Americans, playing Frank God, a role that added another layer to his diverse acting portfolio. His ability to seamlessly transition between different genres and mediums has been a hallmark of his career. Thomas also made a return to Broadway in 2017, starring in The Little Foxes, which earned him a Tony Award nomination for Best Featured Actor in a Play. His dedication to the craft of acting has remained unwavering, and his performances have continued to captivate audiences both on and off the stage. Richard Thomas, personal life, family, and relationships. Richard Thomas's personal life has seen its share of significant moments and changes over the years. In 1975, Thomas married Alma Gonzalez, and their family quickly began to grow. About a year into their marriage, the couple welcomed their first child, a son. However, their family dynamic underwent a major shift in 1981 when Gonzalez gave birth to triplet daughters. The arrival of their daughters brought joy and excitement, but as the years went on, their relationship began to face challenges. Despite their growing family, Thomas and Gonzalez experienced strain in their marriage, which ultimately led to their divorce in 1993 after nearly 2 decades together. Not long after his divorce, Thomas found love again. In November 1994, he married Georgiana Bischoff, an art dealer based in Santa Fe. Their marriage brought new beginnings for both of them, and they further expanded their family when they welcomed a son in 1996. In addition to their biological child, Thomas also embraced his role as a stepfather, adopting Bischoff's 2 daughters from her previous marriages. This blended family has remained close-knit, and Thomas has spoken about the importance of family throughout his life. He and Georgiana have now been married for nearly 3 decades and have led a relatively quiet life in New York, far from the spotlight. Through all the ups and downs of his personal life, Richard Thomas has continued to balance his acting career with the responsibilities of being a devoted husband and father. His ability to maintain a sense of normalcy in his personal life, despite the challenges that come with fame, has been a testament to his character. Real estate and financial success. Beyond his acting career, Richard Thomas has made some smart investments, particularly in real estate, which has contributed to his financial success. Over the years, Thomas has built a net worth of approximately $6 million, thanks to his long-standing acting career and savvy property transactions. In 1995, Thomas and his wife Georgiana made their first major real estate purchase together, buying a home in the Los Feliz neighborhood of Los Angeles for $600,000. They held onto the property for nearly a decade before selling it in June 2004 for $1.76 million, more than doubling their initial investment. Shortly after selling their Los Angeles home, Thomas and Bischoff shifted their focus to New York City. In July 2004, the couple purchased a 600 square foot apartment in the historic Alwyn Court building for $1.55 million. The apartment, located in Manhattan, offered them a prime location in one of the most sought-after areas of the city. However, after several years, they decided to sell the property. The apartment was initially listed for $3 million in September 2017, but it ultimately sold in October 2021 for $1.85 million. While they have owned properties in both Los Angeles and New York, the couple now primarily resides in Santa Fe, New Mexico. This move likely reflects a desire for a quieter, more peaceful lifestyle away from the hustle and bustle of city life. Their decision to settle in Santa Fe also suggests a more permanent living arrangement, offering them a tranquil environment to enjoy in their later years. A shocking accident, September 2023. Richard Thomas experienced a life-threatening car accident on September 17, 2023. The news of the crash quickly circulated online, sparking concern among his devoted fans who were eager to learn more about his condition. The details of the accident are still under investigation, and much remains unknown about what led to the collision. It occurred on a roadway in Minnesota, though authorities have not yet revealed the exact location or the specific circumstances surrounding the crash. The accident was severe, and initial reports confirmed that Thomas had sustained critical injuries. The collision involved another vehicle, though it is unclear whether anyone else was harmed or how the crash unfolded. Immediately following the incident, Thomas was rushed to CentraCare St. Cloud Hospital, where he received urgent medical care. The situation prompted an outpouring of support from fans and well-wishers, with many hoping for positive updates on his condition. As of now, no official updates have been released regarding Richard Thomas's health or the full details of the crash. The lack of information has left fans anxiously awaiting news about his recovery. Despite the uncertainties, there have been no reports confirming rumors of his death, which have surfaced in some corners of social media. The widespread concern and affection shown by his fans reflect the deep impact his career has had on audiences over the years. Authorities are working diligently to determine the cause of the crash, with ongoing investigations into whether any specific factors contributed to the accident. At this stage, it remains unclear whether Thomas or the other driver involved was at fault. Investigators are examining all potential causes, including road conditions, weather factors, and any possible driver error. Depending on the outcome of the investigation, legal actions could follow, especially if negligence or other contributing factors are discovered. Though official updates about Richard Thomas's recovery are scarce, one thing is certain: he remains alive and is facing the aftermath of this tragic event with resilience. From his hospital bed, Thomas spoke to those close to him, expressing his gratitude for being alive despite the difficult circumstances. He acknowledged the severity of his injuries but maintained a positive outlook, stating, "I'm really good under the circumstances," a testament to his inner strength and determination. Thomas has always been known for his calm demeanor and his ability to handle challenges with grace, and this latest trial has brought out those qualities once again. Though he admitted that his health was fragile, his words radiated gratitude. He spoke about the value of life and the mental fortitude required to endure life's unexpected challenges. His near-death experience has given him a fresh perspective, and he now embraces each day with a renewed sense of appreciation. During this difficult time, Richard Thomas has leaned heavily on the support of his family, particularly his wife, Georgiana Bischoff. In a heartfelt moment, Thomas referred to her as his guardian angel, praising her unwavering love and care throughout his ordeal. Their bond, which has endured through years of marriage, grew even stronger as she remained by his side during his recovery. Her dedication to his well-being provided him with the emotional strength he needed to face his health challenges. For Thomas, Georgiana's presence has been a source of comfort, giving him hope during the darkest moments following the accident. He often reflects on how fortunate he is to have her in his life, describing her as the most beautiful guardian angel on earth. The couple's strong relationship has helped them navigate not only the ups and downs of life, but also the terrifying aftermath of this near-fatal incident. As Richard Thomas continues his recovery, the long-term implications of the accident are yet to be fully known. While he has shown remarkable resilience in the face of adversity, it is clear that the road to full recovery will be a challenging one. His physical injuries were severe, and it will likely take time for him to regain his strength and return to his usual routine. In reflecting on his near-death experience, Thomas has shared how it has changed his outlook on life. The accident has forced him to confront the fragility of life, and in doing so, he has emerged with a renewed sense of purpose. Although his future remains uncertain, Thomas's determination to heal and move forward is evident in his words and actions. He has continued to express gratitude for the love and support he has received, not only from his family but from the broader community.